Halo Bismania, kita kali ini akan membahas mengenai minyak sayur, ya minyak nabati. Apa sih bahaya minyak nabati ini yang memiliki kandungan omega 6 yang tinggi, terutama polyunsaturated fat atau lemak tak jenuh ganda, ya. Dan ini part 1 dari semua part yang akan saya jelaskan, dan ini dari video What I Have Learned. Terima kasih telah mengklik video ini. Bagi yang merasakan manfaat dari materi di BINARAGA.NET ini, silakan klik subscribe dan tombol lonceng di bawah ini, dan bisa silakan share kepada teman-teman Anda. Selamat datang di channel BINARAGA.NET bersama saya Jo Pengafu, biasa dipanggil Jo JP atau JP, yang membahas tentang nutrisi, latihan, dan produk seputar fitness. Kita akan mempelajari sejarah pembuatan dalam part 1 ini, bagaimana membuat minyak sayur dari bahan-bahan yang sudah tidak dipakai lagi mulai dari tahun 1900-an sampai pada 1970-an, ya, yang mengalami puncak, ya, puncak omset daripada minyak sayur ini. Dan mengapa bisa berbahaya, padahal kita sudah disarankan untuk mengurangi lemak jenuh untuk diganti dengan lemak tak jenuh ini. Yuk, mari kita simak penjelasan berdasarkan studi ini dan berdasarkan penjelasan dari para dokter. Jangan khawatir, video ini telah kita sematkan dengan teks bahasa Indonesia supaya Anda bisa mengerti, karena video ini dalam bahasa Inggris.
Let's start in 1829. Thanks to new machinery, it became practical to make use of the leftover garbage from cotton production, cotton seeds. The oil extracted from cottonseed could be used as fuel for lamps or lubricant for machinery. In the early 1880s, Thomas Hudnut invented a mechanical way to extract oil from corn germ. Up until then, corn germ was a byproduct that corn refiners threw away. In 1898, corn oil started to be used as commercial cooking oil, and in 1902, the Hudnut mills were selling 36 million gallons of corn oil per year. In 1911, the soap maker Procter & Gamble came out with a new product, crystallized cottonseed oil. Crisco looked a lot like the common cooking fat, lard. Before 1900 or so, everyone used virtually 100% animal fats to cook. But Procter & Gamble figured their newer, cheaper product Crisco looked a lot like lard, so why not get people to eat Crisco instead? They launched a massive marketing campaign presenting their cottonseed oil product as the newer and cleaner cooking fat that made cheap, better-tasting foods. In 1911, Procter & Gamble spent about $5 million worth of today's money to advertise Crisco, and it became popular immediately. Just the next year, in 1912, sales of Crisco amounted to £2,600,000. That same year, in 1912, James B. Herrick published a paper on what is thought to be the first heart attack accurately described in a medical journal. You see, heart disease was actually a very rare condition before the 1900s or so. Crisco continued to ramp up their advertising, and in 1916, Crisco sales had reached £60 million.
When the heart stops beating, death is not in fact instantaneous.
In 1924, heart disease was rising, and the American Heart Association, the AHA, was founded but remained quite small and poorly funded for quite a while. In 1945, soybean oil reached 1.3 billion pounds produced, overtaking cottonseed oil as the leading edible oil in the United States. In 1948, the American Heart Association finally got its big break when Procter & Gamble, the makers of Crisco, designated the AHA to receive the $1.7 million from Procter & Gamble's radio contest.
And as the American Heart Association's own history book reads, it says, and overnight, millions poured into our coffers.
Heart disease was still on the rise, and in 1955, President Dwight Eisenhower had a heart attack, and the public was painfully aware of just how big a deal heart disease was. Then, just 6 years later in 1961, the American Heart Association had the answer to heart disease. The AHA recommended everyone to replace saturated fats like those found in animal fat with the polyunsaturated fats like those found in vegetable oils to prevent heart attack and stroke.
It's 94% unsaturated. No oil is lower.
By the way, saturated fat consumption didn't really correlate with rates of heart disease before or after 1961 when the AHA made their recommendation. And remember, we ate close to 0 grams of polyunsaturated fat-rich vegetable oils before 1900 when heart disease was rare.
Okay, so we went from 0 in 1865 to 80 grams a day. Now let me just say, this is an infinite increase in vegetable oil consumption. That makes this the single greatest change to nutrition in all of history. I don't think anything else can even begin to compare. A third of our diet is coming out of factories that make these oils.
Just like all these odd corn oil ads wanted us to do, we added huge amounts of polyunsaturated fat to our diet. And today, edible oil is now a $100 billion industry. So, is this massive increase in polyunsaturated fat-rich vegetable oil actually bad or just benign? You can find various anecdotes here and there of people clearing up ailments as bad as arthritis or irritable bowel syndrome and losing plenty of weight by removing vegetable oils from their diet. Molecular biologist Brad Marshall even came up with a croissant diet where he'd totally removed vegetable oils from his diet and lost plenty of stubborn weight while eating croissants. Even Dr. Kate Shanahan, nutritionist for the LA Lakers, removed vegetable oils from their diet plan. But these are just anecdotes, so let's move on. As mentioned, vegetable oil consumption happens to correlate with diabetes and obesity. But again, we can't get too excited, this is just a correlation.
Teman-teman, saya Joko bersama BINARAGA.NET. Kami mengajak Anda membangun generasi baru yang lebih cerdas, fit, dan tangguh untuk menuju kembali energi yang berkelanjutan. Di BINARAGA.NET, kami selalu percaya bahwa setiap orang pasti bisa memiliki tubuh yang ideal dan sehat. Dengan subscribe, like, dan share video ini, Anda turut membantu membangun Indonesia sehat dan kuat. Salam jelas fitness, saya JP.